We're here, Danielle and I from Sudbury Politics are here with Darius Garneau and Jacob Fielding. Hello, you two.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
They're coming to us from campus, where some shenanigans have been going on. If you haven't been following the news, Darius and Jacob have recently been candidates for president of the Students' General Assembly at Laurentian, their largest student union there, and the vote was held, I think, concluded on Tuesday. But it wasn't until Monday night that they found out that they both were disqualified, leaving one candidate, the incumbent, behind. How are you guys doing? You're together in the same place, so I guess you're not mad at each other.
No, we don't hate each other. No, yeah, we're actually friends, yeah. So it's like we're ready to
justice, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was not a fun time. I think that, what time did we get the email at 8:45 on Monday? When did you get it?
Yeah, I got it, at 9 o'clock. Yeah. Okay.
So you were informed by email that you contravened some rule, and I'll throw to Danielle in a second to explore that. How did you react to that, Darius?
So I was actually, this is a funny story. That day was the first day of the election. I saw Jacob handing out cupcakes, and I saw the other people handing out Timbits. So my reaction that day was, oh no, I have to hand out some sort of treat. So that night I spent a couple hours with some friends making cupcakes. We made about 100 cupcakes, and I got a Nintendo Switch for my friend. We were going to set it up in on campus so that I could talk to people for a bit and try to sway them to vote my way. So as I was driving one of my friends home, she was in our campaign team group chat, and the person I was running with, Ben Chartrand, he got an email saying he was disqualified, and I was like, oh my God, that's serious. So then I pulled over, because honestly I was like, wait a second, if he's disqualified, am I disqualified too? So I checked my email, and I was disqualified also. So I freaked out.
Yeah. Jacob, what did you do? You freaked out too, probably.
Yeah, I had just gotten home after a long day of campaigning, and I was sort of getting ready for bed, just kind of settling down for the night, getting ready for the next day. And one of the VP candidates said, "Hey, did you get an email?" And I was like, I guess, let me check. And so I opened the email, and it said I was disqualified. And so obviously I freaking out, messaging everyone, because I didn't get a warning. I was all of a sudden just disqualified. So it kind of freaked me out, and it was shocking. It was very disappointing to hear, but I knew right away that I wanted to appeal it, because I knew it was nonsense. I was trying to get a hold of the CRO all day. He wasn't answering any of my emails, wasn't in his office at all, and it was just, so I was really frustrated, and frankly I was insulted that after all day trying to get a hold of the CRO, and he just then he just disqualifies me. It was pretty insulting.
So was it a contentious election to that point? Had there been altercations, disagreements, warnings, anything like that to indicate that you should be on your guard?
So in my instance, I had gotten 6 strikes, and I'm not really sure what the system was, if it means that a strike is supposed to count as a warning, but to me it counted as a penalty. So the way that it worked was, the first day of the election, the first day of campaigning, I had emailed my information to the CRO, and then right after I emailed, I walked over to his office to ask if it was approved, and he said he would do it within the next couple hours. It wasn't done in the next couple hours, so I posted it anyways because I want to win. So then he had given me 2 strikes because I had posted it on Facebook and Instagram. You could argue that Facebook and Instagram are the same platform because it is owned by the same person, but I'm willing to accept those strikes because I did post and I got impatient, so that is my fault. Then there was a LUPSA debate, and I posted a message, and the live stream itself was fine, but what I got a strike on was really happy to have been invited. This has been one of the best experiences so far. So the thing is, when it comes to these strikes for electronic campaigning, it's the campaigning bit. So to me, that wasn't necessarily campaigning, because I didn't get more publicity than anybody else, and I didn't even tell anybody to vote for me in my caption. I just told people that I was happy to be there. So basically, I'm not sure if you had a chance to read through the election rules, but they're not written the best. And you could see through my appeal packet. I posted it all on Facebook so people could make their own judgments about whether or not I'm in the wrong, or if the SGA is in the wrong. So then I had 3 strikes, and I will also admit I thought I had 5 strikes. That's totally on me. I clearly did not read it close enough. So that next morning, the day of the election, basically, I had emailed the CRO and I said, hey, can I post messages like this? And I gave him a couple phrases like, get out and vote, go vote, make your voice heard, this is how you vote, just like general generic phrases like that. I got 2 strikes for those generic posts. If you look at, like I said, it's all in the Facebook post I made. You could look at what I asked to have approved, and you could look at what I got the strike for, and you could make your own judgments about whether or not you think that is exactly the same, or I changed a single word, but I didn't specify what I was going to post in the first place.
I'm gonna bring Danielle in here, because
Yeah, of course.
we haven't gone through the entire appeals package, but what you've said so far, it doesn't sound too egregious to me. Having been an experienced campaigner at municipal, provincial, and federal levels, they're doing. The bar they're setting is different from what I've ever experienced before. Danielle Wicklander, when she's not the director of our show, she's also somebody that runs elections for a living. Danielle, you're listening into this. What's your reaction here?
I'm a little concerned, to be honest, with respect to the rules themselves. So one of the key things we do as election organizers is we have to remain fair, biased, and neutral in anything. And we have to make sure that candidates are aware of the rules and the information, so that instances like this don't happen. We set clear policies and guidelines with respect to what's allowed in a campaign, what's not allowed in a campaign. For us, we're a little bit luckier because we have legislation that actually guides us for it. But what I'm hearing is there's really no solid policies in place that tell the candidate what they can and can't do. I'm not super clear on the rules with respect to electronic campaigning, but I don't understand why that's something that wouldn't be allowed. We have no rules with respect to that. We have rules with respect to using municipal resources. Like you couldn't post, a candidate can't post on the City of Greater Sudbury's Facebook page, but a candidate using their own social media platforms, that's their social media platform. So why is that not allowed? With respect to, I'm really bothered by it, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. And then, even then, like with respect to campaigning itself, what I'm hearing from Darius with respect to the strikes, he's not pushing a platform or an issue. It's get out the vote. So as an election organizer, nothing makes me happier than when people turn out to vote, because it means that I've done my job pushing the message across to voters. So I can't see how something like that would be, and I'm not even sure, what is the strike? Like what happens with all of these strikes? Is it an accumulative total and then you get the boot, or was that communicated to you guys, or how do those strikes themselves work?
Jacob,
so
how did this?
And who decides what? And who? And I guess like my question too is, who decides what a strike is, right? So in terms of an election organizer, from my side, as I said, we remain fair, biased, and neutral. And if there's any question of the behavior of a candidate, yes, it's brought to us, but it goes to the Election Compliance Audit Committee. So myself as an organizer, I'm not making a decision on the behavior or the campaigning of the candidate. It goes to a committee, a neutral committee, to make that decision. So it remains open and transparent. And it's not brought by me, it's brought by a member of the public or a voter who has a problem with something that the candidate's done, not the person organizing the election.
Yeah.
Jacob,
so I'm just curious about that whole process.
Yeah, sorry. How did your strikes go? And are they accused? Danielle asked, are they accumulated? Like if you get so many, then you're in trouble, or you get like 5 free? Is it like demerit points when you're driving? How's it work?
No, so it's more like so it's accumulated. So I think four strikes and then you're disqualified. That's how it works. So let's say you accumulate 3 strikes. Well, so we have a campaign spending limit of $500, and with every accumulated strike, that's less that we're allowed to spend on the campaign. So it goes like the first strike is $10, then I believe the second one is 20 or 25, and then the third one is 30. So that's accumulated. And yeah, that's fine. Okay, as long as we're playing in the rules. But like, it was just kind of like, it just seemed like it was arbitrarily decided by one person that we were breaking the rules, and we got disqualified for the same reason, illegal electronic campaigning. So it just seemed like it was up to the discretion of the CRO. And me and Darius, when we appealed it to the committee, I think we did a good job in stating our case. I did a good job in explaining that, I'd been trying to get a hold of the CRO all day, wasn't in his office, wasn't answering my emails. Like, I have a campaign to run here. I can't just wait around till 7 o'clock at night when he decides to look at his email. So, I kind of posted anyway and like he had sent me an email saying my banner was approved. So running off of that assumption, I assumed that everything else was approved too. So it was just, it wasn't a good situation. I feel like we were presumed like guilty right away. There was like no chance for really us to explain ourselves. And yeah, it's like you said, it was, it's not like a student brought this forward and then the committee decided. It was someone on the committee decided that we had deserved to be disqualified, and then the committee itself, with the person who decided that we were disqualified, decided to either reject or accept the appeal.
And on the appeal committee, there was like at least one hired staff on the appeal committee. So like,
yeah,
that strikes me as unethical, but like, here we are.
Danielle, how do you react to that? That way you've heard that now so far, a little bit about their rules. Do you have any questions for them?
Yeah, I guess too, with respect to the accumulation of the strikes, so you say it was, there was a certain 3 strikes, or sorry, there was a certain point when you got to a certain number of strikes, and then from that point it was a disqualification. So were any notices provided to you guys, like, hey, you're on your last strike here, tighten up? Like, was any of that communicated, or was it just, I don't exactly know what strike I'm on, and then boom, you're out?
Tell us whenever we got a strike. In my case, I had gotten my 3 strikes, the 2 that I had done, and then the one that I thought was unjust. And then that night they gave me my last 3. For my,
like all at the same time.
All at the same time. Yeah. I think that for me, what I would have wanted was hey, you're breaking the rule, take down your post, because I'm not unreasonable. I could have just taken down my post. If you look, even if you look at the post, it's not like the post. We tried to stay like within the rules, but like, the rules were dumb. Like I'll just say it. But it's not like I was slandering another candidate. It's not like I was saying anything like unreasonable. Yeah.
And that's the other. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so you made a post. I think it's really important to come back to this. That said, go and get out and vote.
Yeah,
well, Danielle will know this. I certainly know this. On election day, in any legal system, like provincial, federal, municipal politics, you can't say anything else that day. You can't pay advertising to say, I'm the candidate for you, come and vote for me. But telling people to vote is what campaigns do on election day in any other democratic system that I have ever heard of in my whole life. How does the SGA square that decision with how offside they are with every other system? Do they make any justifications for that?
No, and like it they don't really, they just kind of say like, here are the rules. If you don't want to follow them, then you can't be part of the SGA. That's pretty much the message that we've been getting. Like from the beginning, I've had very negative feelings, you know, like I said before, like presumed guilty. Like it's just, it almost felt like I was doing something wrong all the time. I was just like, you know, getting these strikes and not being able to, like, I didn't know what was, it just wasn't a good feeling running, trying to seek this position within the SGA. And it was like, yeah, it just wasn't a good.
I'm trying to find the exact things that I had said that were, I guess I could try to, where are they? I could find them like this.
Well, we'll share it out, but I just want to get away from the technical details. I mean, Danielle, if you have another question, just let me know. It'll give me a wave. But so, Darius, you won the popular vote, 447 votes to 344.
Yeah.
And you know, there's been a lot of chatter. I've seen your feeds about the fact that legitimately the popular vote elected you. I mean, one of the interesting ones from our own co-host Jeff McIntyre's is that, hey, this is student government is important because it's a proving ground for people to understand the political system. The political system itself seems like is offside. We just had a chat with Ryan Breen. I understand he's organizing a protest tonight of people from, you know, who were assuming they were voters, students like yourselves, that aren't happy with the results and don't want to see them ratified. What happens next, Darius?
What happens next? I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss. I mean, realistically, I want a re-election, but I don't even know if that's allowed. Like the SGA's constitution is, well, I mean, they, first of all, their minutes and their budget aren't public information, but I'm not really sure if
you can't see this at home, but because she's not talking, but Danielle's laughing and scowling at the same time.
Sorry.
There's a reason why they don't let me on camera most of the time.
Wait, I want to clarify what I just said. The budget and minutes are open to the public. It's just the last time that there were minutes posted was January 2019. So, you know, they exist, I think. The budget, you could go and find it. You could find the first quarter, but if you want to see the full thing, the page takes you to an error. If you want to go check it out, it's on the website. You can try to see that. But basically, I also think the constitution that's on the website is outdated also. I don't know. Basically, I don't know the rules and nobody does. And I don't think that I don't know if the general students could just call for a re-election. I know that they want to, and I know that, like, there's a lot of angry people. I'm just kind of existing. My phone's been going crazy for the last day and a half, and people keep asking me, like, what are we gonna do next? And I was like, I don't have an answer. Like,
Danielle, any last thoughts on this?
Well, it's just, so I organize municipal elections for a living, but I've also worked like Richard on other sides of it. And disqualifying a candidate the night before the election is something that just doesn't happen.
Halfway through, I missed out on a full day of the meeting because I was like, am I still even like on this ballot?
Yeah.
It's just, if there's a controverted election, it's dealt with after the election. Because to me, it's a disservice to voters to do that, and it's a disservice to the candidates. Let the campaign run, let the voters vote who they choose, and if something was legitimately wrong with it, deal with it after in a proper and neutral way, not the night before the final day of voting.
And for me, you've got the Ryerson Student Union, which has just been decertified by its administration. You've got an administration at Queen's Park that even though they didn't really talk about this during the election, the minute they were elected, took some very dramatic actions to limit the powers of student unions. You would think that, given that, student unions and their elected officials would be on their best behavior at this time. Right?
I'll speak to that. Right now, if you look at all of the Laurentian platforms, everybody's talking about how this was unfair, but they're also talking about why we have a student union in the first place. And honestly, that's not what should be coming out of this, which sucks, because like I would rather a corrupt student union than no student union at all. But I don't really think that like we should have to make that choice. Yeah, no, I would, as of now, I mean, the SGA had people impeached the last 3 years, and the first year that they don't have anyone impeached, they disqualify 3 candidates from being able to run. So like, you know, if there's an untrust, like I'm not, I mean, you could decide whether you think they're trustworthy or not, but like, I mean, I don't not want an SGA. I want, you know, a proper union and not a business. Like, yeah.
We'll leave it there. Thank you, Darius Garneau. Thank you, Jacob Fielding. Thank you, Danielle, our director, for coming in and sharing your experience as a person who's run municipal elections. Good luck at the protest tonight. You know, from where I sit, the administrations are just as nervous about student unions now than they ever have been before. And if the students keep the SJ's feet to the fire, my guess is you're going to find some action is going to happen. So we wish you the best, and you know, we'll watch and see what happens next.
Thanks for having us.
You got it. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.